Hello again, and welcome back to Grammarville. This time we will be looking a little bit closer into the genitive case. The genitive case is used to show who owns or has something. In Swedish, that is usually done by putting an S at the end of the owner. For example, flickans bok, bilens däck, skolans fönster. Notice the S at the end, marking ownership. In English, however, it is a little bit more complicated, and we will be looking a little closer into 5 rules of the genitive case. Number 1. If the owner is a living creature, like a person or an animal, or if it is an organization or company, or if it is an indication of time, you put an apostrophe and an S at the end. For example, the boy's bike, Tony's apple, the dog's toy, IKEA's furniture, today's schedule. Do not forget the apostrophe. Rule number 2 includes words that already end with an S in singular. What happens then? Well, basically the same thing as before. For example, James's homework, Max's phone, the boss's orders, the octopus's tentacles, Toys R Us's building. But if a word ends with an S in plural, this is where rule number 3 comes in. In this case, only an apostrophe is added at the end, no S. For example, the boy's team, the cat's tails, the dog's bowls. But remember, the owners in these examples are in plural, not singular. Rule number 4 includes the words that do not end with an S in plural. Here we go back to rule number 1. For example, the children's toys, the men's turn, the women's march. Some of you might have noticed that so far we've only looked at cases where the owner is a person, animal, company, organization, or an indication of time. Well, what about when the owner is just a thing? Introducing rule number 5. When the owner does not fall into any of the categories of rule number 1, we can't put an apostrophe and an S at the end. Instead, we have to use the of genitive. For example, the classrooms of the school, the roof of the house, the names of the streets, the end of the story, the top of the mountain, the branches of the trees, the roads of the cities. Notice how the owner comes after the thing or things that is owned in English, and that it doesn't matter if the owner is in singular or plural. Before we end the lesson, I want you to watch out for common mistakes. The first one is the importance of the apostrophe. For example, there is a difference between friends and friends, or birds and birds. The second one is that an apostrophe and S at the end of words can mean different things. For example, John's can mean 3 different things. It could be John is, John has, or it could mean that John owns something. You have to look at the context to know which one it is. Well, that's it for now. Good luck and welcome back to Grammarville.
Created using Powtoon.